Well, hello, my friends. It's been a while. We'll do another introduction in a while. A lot of whiles. So you can see there's 3 red panda habitats sort of marked out here, and we don't end up with 3. We end up with 2. I wasn't happy with how 3 was looking. The original plan was, of course, to have 1 habitat for a breeding pair, another habitat for either another breeding pair or the offspring of the initial breeding pair until they moved out, and then the 3rd habitat would have been for red pandas that are no longer part of the breeding program, or red pandas that their genetics are overrepresented in captivity. But it just looked very cramped with 3, and I wasn't overly happy with the design, so we changed it to 2. So don't be alarmed if suddenly it goes from 3 habitats to 2. That's why. Anyway, it's certainly been a while since the last episode. I do apologise about that. I have been working on this for, it's the 20th of January when I'm recording this voiceover. It will quite possibly go out on the 20th of January as well. If not, maybe the 21st. But yeah, most of my time has just been spent chipping away at the final stages of this build. Just work has been absolutely crazy, and I just haven't really had the time to sit down and properly just build. It's just been maybe an hour and a couple of hours if I was lucky, just chipping away at the planting, the rock work, the tweaking, stuff like that, and actually editing it as well. So I do apologise for that. This trend will probably continue. Work is continuously busy. The next episode out should be East Lake. I've been working on that one since just after Christmas, I think, or maybe just before Christmas. This one, sort of the same story. But I wanted to get Dunswell Zoo out. Yeah, it's very busy at the minute. Not got a lot of time, unfortunately, but we'll get done what we can get done. What else can I talk about? So, we've got a new version of Axie, the 1.16 version for Axie, and it does add some amazing features into the game. We can now have mixed exhibits and mixed. Not mixed. We can have mixed exhibits, that much is true. And we can also add new exhibit species. So there's already new bat mods, new sloth mods, new butterfly mods, new beetle mods, new snake mods. They're all there. This will continue to probably expand as time goes on. It's a really cool feature. However, there is one drawback at the moment, and that is that the 1.16 version of Axie is only compatible with 1.16 mods. So anything that's currently still 1.15, so the majority of the animal mods, free build, I think that's still 1.15. A few of the prop packs, I think they're still 1.15, though some of them have been updated. But you won't be able to use anything that's 1.15 or older if you're using the new version of Axie, which is slightly problematic for Dunswell Zoo, because the new version of Axie would have so much effect on Dunswell Zoo. Would be able to add the Hoffman's two-toed sloth. We would have a few more bats to add into the game, butterflies and stuff like that. It would really sort of diversify the game. But it would have to be 1.16, and the majority of animal mods that I'm using are 1.15 or older. Some of them haven't been updated since about 1.13, something like that. So yeah, that's the situation we're stuck with at the minute. So for the time being, until some more mods get updated for 1.16, I will not be using the new version of Axie. We're going to stick with 1.15 for now. Just because that way I can keep most of my animals. What else has happened? People are speculating, I guess we'll call it, that the end of Planet Zoo is on the way. There was some sort of document that was released which showed there's one more DLC for the financial year, and then console release, which most people think will be Planet Zoo, which would mean that the PC game, the PC version of Planet Zoo, i.e. this version of Planet Zoo, what you're seeing, would no longer receive DLC and updates, because all the focus would then be converting the game for a console release. I don't think this is necessarily the case. At the moment, Planet Zoo and Jurassic World Evolution 2 are Frontier's only profit-making products, we'll call them. Every other product that they've got in terms of like the Games Foundry and I mean, I guess Elite Dangerous makes a bit of a profit as well, to be fair. But the main profit turners are Planet Zoo and Jurassic World Evolution 2. A lot of Frontier employees lost their jobs over the festive period, and I don't know how many were lost from Jurassic World Evolution 2 and Elite Dangerous, but I know a lot were lost for Planet Zoo, particularly the sort of community side of things. So Fran, Lydia, Tim, Jens, they've all gone. There's a guy whose name I forget. He was in charge of making the trailers and taking screenshots for the release, stuff like that. He's gone. He lost his job, unfortunately. So it does sort of look like they're winding down production on Planet Zoo. But then they are having to save an awful lot of money just to sort of stay afloat. And if you can have one person do someone else's job, you don't need that other person. As harsh as that sounds, that is how business works, unfortunately. So maybe that's the situation here. You know, maybe they decided, okay, we don't need someone to take screenshots and create the trailer. We can get someone else to do that, who's already got a role, so we can make that role null. We can liquidate the role, if you like. That could be what we're dealing with here. I don't think Planet Zoo will end this year, in all honesty. A lot of their finances will be directed on developing new games. We know there are some new simulation games coming from Frontier. What these are going to be, we don't know. Some people want Planet Zoo 2, some people want Planet Coaster 2, some people want Planet Aquarium. You know, there are lots of different ideas floating around. If it is a Planet Coaster, I won't be playing it. I did play the original Planet Coaster and I didn't find it a particularly fun experience. Played Planet Zoo and fell in love with it. If it is Planet Zoo 2, that's great. Obviously we know from Jurassic World Evolution and Jurassic World Evolution 2, they can release the sequel sort of more or less straight after the development cycle of the first game has ceased. I think it was about 7 months between the last Jurassic World Evolution DLC and the announcement of Jurassic World Evolution 2. So we could be looking at a similar situation. That said, I don't think it is going to be Planet Zoo 2. I think we will probably get some more Planet Zoo DLC throughout 2024, and then next year, 2025, we'd maybe get one to complete the financial year for 2024, and then it would cease. I think that's more likely, because they're going to need money coming in still, so they're going to need to have sort of games where they continue to push the content. Obviously, the two ideal candidates for that would be Jurassic World Evolution 2 and Planet Zoo. But we'll see what happens in any instance. I think that's everything. I think I've caught up on everything. It's been difficult maintaining a balance. So, we're building for Red Pandas in this episode, and obviously I've said I wanted to do 3, but ended up with 2. That's still not an issue. That's still fine. So red pandas, I'm sure everybody knows what red pandas are. They've sort of surged in popularity over the last sort of 15 years, probably due to social media. They're mainly solitary, they're very territorial, and they can live for about 10 years, probably slightly longer in captivity. They specialise in eating bamboo, and they have a false thumb, which gives them a fantastic strong grip that they're able to sort of rip the bamboo leaves off with or hold with. And they have thick white hair which conserves body heat in the cold habitats that they're found in, and the dense underwool keeps them nice and warm and dry. They're arboreal, so they spend the majority of their lives in the trees, and they obviously browse or sleep in the trees. And in the wild, red pandas are typically only awake for about 12 hours. The rest of the day they are asleep. And they actually behave very similarly to domestic cats, which I find absolutely adorable. So after they wake up, they clean, and then they go pee, they poo, rub their face and stuff and things, their chin, to mark territory. They eat and drink, and then they go back to sleep. That is the life of a red panda, and that is the life of a domestic cat. That said, red pandas do not make good pets. Please stick to domestic cats. They're very quiet, red pandas, and they usually only communicate when they absolutely must. And they twitter and whistle. I've never actually heard that. I think I've maybe heard young red pandas sort of vocalise, but I've never heard an adult red panda vocalise. So that'll be a new one for me. And the future survival of these red pandas is increasingly vulnerable, particularly due to climate change and developers completely flattening bamboo forests, which the red pandas need to live on in China, the Himalayas, and Nepal. Red pandas are, of course, endangered, unfortunately, and they are typically found in sort of temperate tundra, temperate and taiga forests and bamboo thickets. And 98% of their diet is just bamboo. The rest of it is usually made up of like small mammals, eggs, lizards, things like that. Anything that they can sort of quickly get in their mouth and chew, I suppose. But yeah, we've got a pair of red pandas that do move into the first habitat. We've got nothing in the second habitat just yet. But yeah, it was a really difficult habitat to build, actually. I had a very clear image in mind of how I wanted it to look, and getting that image to come to life was difficult. Part of it was the terrain, and part of it was just sort of keeping the red pandas away from the guests, but also close enough that they could be seen, and then putting enough planting in so that it looks nice and natural. As well as giving the red pandas lots of places to hide. Obviously it is the first habitat, and it's like smack bang opposite the entrance to the Himalayan area, after you've come up the slope, of course. And yeah, I'd imagine it'd get quite busy, so I just wanted to give the red pandas lots of places to hide, and there's lots of sort of structures and foliage to diffuse the sound and just make things a bit easier for the red pandas. We go for Asian planting in here, and I think we do resort to some European planting, just because obviously we're building in the UK in this zoo, and there would be some European planting in there. I mean, the red pandas at Chester Zoo, for example, in their habitat in the realm of the red ape, they have completely different planting in there. I think it's tropical planting they have in there, actually, mostly. Obviously it's not a tropical habitat, it's open. I say it's open top, there's like a roof net thing over the top. And whereas the ones at Yorkshire Wildlife Park, for example, they are in sort of exclusively European planting, with the exception of course, the bamboo. So I felt, adding some European plants in here was warranted. So here I'm trying to make a little red panda house that the red pandas can go in and out of, but it's outside, it's away from their internal shelter. It looks the part. Unfortunately, it isn't functionable. The hitbox of the red pandas is just too big for them to be able to fit in here, so it's just decorative. There it is, that's why I ended up putting it. And making the climbing structures was difficult as well. I wanted a really intricate and interesting design, but that also offered good sort of line of sight for the guests. And although I think I achieved that, I still think it looks pretty unnatural for zoo climbing. But I think this is the part now where I was just spending a couple of hours a night chipping away at it, recording what I could, planting, rock work, enrichment, climbing, stuff like that. And then, it was like, get changed, do my pack up for the next day, make sure my bag's ready, and then collapse in bed. Such is probably the life for many of you watching this. So yeah, I'm glad it's finished. The next episode of Dunswell Zoo, don't know when that's going to be, but whenever that is, it will be for 2 animals, 2 species. It's not going to be a mixed species habitat, they're going to be 2 separate habitats. They're both quite small animals, so it should be relatively easy to do. One doesn't require any sort of climbing whatsoever, and the other one would probably only require sort of minimal climbing, but it'd be in the form of like rock structures and things like that. So that should be fairly simple. But the next episode that hits the channel will be from Eastlake. It's been a while since I've been in Eastlake, to be honest. I think it was just after 1.16 was released with the gift shops. That was the last time I was in Eastlake. So probably just over a month, actually. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. I am pretty active on my Instagram account for wildlife photography at the moment, because that's really the only thing I have the time to do, which is edit and post my photographs that I've taken of animals sort of from the years on different devices, stuff like that. I will try to be more active on my Planet Zoo Instagram, which is just JW, at JW_YT. But obviously I need to be in game for taking screenshots and stuff like that, and I don't always have the time. So for example, not to go too much into my work schedule, but I have to do 1 8 o'clock start and 1 6:30 finish. So by the end of the day where I start at 8 o'clock, I'm just absolutely like wiped out. And by the time I've got home, when that finishes at 6:30, oh, here's cinematics, right? Thank you very much for watching. Bit rushed, not my best work, I do apologise, but I haven't really had a lot of time. Here is the 2 red panda habitats. We currently have 1 of the 2 red panda habitats occupied by a wonderful breeding pair of red pandas. I forget their names. They've come from other zoos in the UK to start a new genetic lineage. So hopefully they will get to breeding and we'll have some red panda cubs shortly. Thank you for watching. Please remember to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out, it helps the channel grow. And you can follow me on Instagram at JW_YT, and my wildlife photography is at JW_wildlife photography. Very original, I know. Until the next time, my friends, stay safe, stay kind, enjoy what's left, and bye bye for now.